Hey everyone, welcome back to Patriot Ridge Farm. It's Mike, and I have got all these chicks out here in the one side of the chicken coop. This is a double coop here, and I evicted my last remaining roosters, the 4 of them, put them in the mobile coop outside because they're adults, they're fully feathered, and brought these guys out here. I cleaned it all out, shoveled out all the deep bedding, sprayed it down with the bleach cleaner, let it dry. And then I put a nice little layer of lime all over the floor and then dumped a whole bale of pine shavings in here. Now, these guys here are the Freedom Rangers, and the other collared ones are Black Astrolorps, Silver Lace Wyandottes, Sapphire Gem, and there's some Rhode Island Red in there as well. There's 5 of each breed. So I just put them all out here together because the way the weather's been here, the wind alone has been just crazy. And I put them in big wooden crates in my basement for temperature control and keep them out of the elements until they started getting feathered enough to where I thought I could bring them out here. And I'll never do that again. This will become my permanent brooder. And I've got 2 heat lamps in here, and I'm sweating standing here, and it's 60 degrees outside, windy and raining. And it stays good and warm in here. They've got plenty of shelter in here, and it stays good and warm. But I'll never put them in my basement again, crates or not. God, what a mess. They get this nice layer of dust that they kick up and they produce with their dander and everything, and those little fluffy little feathers all over the place. But they're fine. They're just all in a corner here because I walked in here and filled her water up, filled her feeder up and everything. So, funny story is we just went to Tractor Supply the other night. I wanted to get one of these 30-pound hanging feeders because the way these chicks act, if you set anything on the floor like their water or their feeder, they just pack it full of these pine shavings. So I just took a couple cheap ratchet straps, hung them from eye hooks up in the ceiling here, and hung them up off the floor. They're still going to kick some up in there, but not as bad as they would be on the floor. But they're going fine. They're growing. I hope to, within the next week and a half, get the Freedom Rangers out into their tractors, get that area fenced in for them to day range in, and I'll keep them in the rain or the tractor for about a week, let them kind of acclimate, and then I'll start opening up the door in the mornings, let them go out, eat before each run, and then I'll lock them up at night. So the story behind the feeder is we went to Tractor Supply. It's like 7 miles from me. We went to Tractor Supply there the other evening to get that. And they, of course, had their little chick section there. And we just kind of walked over by just to look and see what they had. And one of the ladies that works there was standing there, and she says, "I hope you're not wanting chickens." And I'm like, "No, we've got plenty at home." I said, "Looks like you've got a bunch of them here, too." She said, "Every one of them sold." She said, "Every one of them is spoken for." She says, "We cannot keep them. As soon as we are getting these chicks in, people are calling, people are coming in, they're buying 10, 20, 30 chicks at a time. They're calling on the phone saying, 'Hold this many for me, I'm coming right over.'" I mean, it's been nuts. So I said, "Well, what do you think's driving this?" She says, "I have no idea." And we had the same issue at Rural King several weeks ago when we went down and got our Sapphire Gems down there. We walked up. We were the only 2. My wife and I were the only 2 standing there. We're waiting on an associate to come and get our chicks for us. And this horde of people just came in behind us, and then 2 more associates come up, one on a phone, one on a walkie-talkie. "Yeah, we've got this many of this chick. We've got this many of this chicken, this many of this chicken. How many do you want? Okay, so you want 10, you want 20, you want this." And I mean, it was getting crazy. And I just spoke up. I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute. Before you go reserving any more chicks, we've been standing here waiting on somebody." I said, "I want 5 of your Sapphire Gems. That's all I want before you decide to give them out to everybody else who's not been standing here." So we got our 5 Sapphire Gems and then came home with them. But so it's been the same, and even a lot of the feed stores, as soon as they're getting chicks now, they're selling out of them almost immediately. So yeah, it's like the great chicken shortage of 2025. Chickens are to 2025 what toilet paper was to 2020. I think I got a big old cobweb in my face too. So the wife and I, when we were running over to Tractor Supply the other evening, funny thing is, I mean, this is within 2 miles of my house where we normally travel. The there's 3 homes now that I'm familiar with that now have brand new chicken coops. They're all like these pre-manufactured, pre-built chicken coops. There's 3 homes within 2 miles of me now that have chicken coops that have never had chickens before. And there's another little homestead just a few more miles away. I think they bought that place like 2.5 years ago. Started off with some chickens. They fenced in their yard real good and started just letting their chickens run. Now they've got chickens. They've got American guinea hogs. They've got turkeys. They've got those rheas, those birds that look almost like an emu type, but they're a little smaller. They've got pigeons. Why, I don't know. I mean, that's whatever. But I mean, they've grown a hell of a little homestead there. Now my neighbor that lives down here from me, he's a big outdoorsman. He hunts, he fishes, everything like that. I mean, that's his thing. So he called me. He's got rabbit dogs down there, beagles. And he had just built a whole new pen for his dogs and everything like that. And he called me and he said, "Do you want these old dog pens?" And I said, "The ones that are sitting against the fence down there?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "You know what? You sure you don't want to sell them?" He said, "Nope." He said, "You can have them." So there's 2 of these, all built with treated lumber. Got doors on the ends. And there's 2 of them. And I thought, you know what? I probably don't have an immediate use for these. They got metal roofs. They're made with treated lumber. I already got the doors, most of the fence up on them. I think I can figure something to do with them. And what I can do is I can close in the sides, get some treated plywood, paint it, close in the sides and the ends and the doors. And I can turn these into brooders if I would ever expand my chicken stuff. And, you know, run out of room or whatever. If it's just too hot, I can put them in these. Because those coops get really hot. I even got fans in there. I've got sliding windows and everything like that, and it's really starting to rain now, so I'm gonna start heading this way. So yeah, he just gave them to me. Went down, picked them up with the tractor, and brought them up here and dropped them off. So little things like that, that would make a great little chicken coop. You could put a couple perches in there. There's a chicken coop, and that might be something that I do. And my lens just fogged up, and I hope it isn't showing up like that on camera, but that might be something that I take and separate some chickens and just put them out, put some electric netting around them. There's their coop, you know, and I can just keep rotating them. And it's just like running my chickens in the orchard over here, like we did a year and a half ago. Put them in the orchard for the year. Hey, those trees have grown immensely because of all the nitrogen stuff from their manure. But yeah, great chicken shortage. Glad to see people doing more for themselves. I hope to see a bunch more gardens. I hope to see a bunch more raised beds and everything. Hope to see people doing more for themselves and relearning the old ways and the old methods. All right, so I don't know if I'm all fogged out now on you guys or not, but I am definitely fogged out on me, and I could barely see anything. Get and stay prepared. Stay free. God bless y'all.